God message today, the last ember. Wind swept through the hollowed woods of Solinar, as if carrying secrets too heavy for the earth to bear. In the quiet between heartbeats, her name echoed across the branches, Caliph, a name once whispered in prayer, now barely remembered. She stood on the precipice of surrender, her soul bruised by silence and the unanswered weight of her suffering. Yet unknown to her, the skies had stirred. In the courts of Leora, where light speaks and stars listen, the angels gathered in defiance of protocol. Serial, wings scarred from unseen wars, approached the throne of Elion, the eternal flame. The hall dimmed, eternity bent its ear as Serial fell to one knee and cried, "Let me go. One last time, let me stand between her and the shadow gathering beneath her. If she doesn't awaken now, the storm will devour everything you placed inside her." A hush. Another angel, Thamiel, followed. We fought the creeping void in her mind for moons, Lord. We whispered truth when lies tried to choke her. We wrapped her in unseen arms when the night mocked her prayers. But she's slipping, Father. Let us try again. Elion's voice trembled not with rage but sorrow. You are not just fighting despair. You are battling a kingdom built on her broken trust. Still permission was granted, and so Calith's skies wept that morning. But she didn't know they were tears of angels descending. She didn't know they had already fought for her in realms she had no name for. That the moment her thoughts grew heavy and her breath shallow, Serial stood with sword drawn in a field between realities, slaying beasts that wore the faces of her regrets. "She's mine," hissed the shadow that had followed her since she buried her first dream. "She was never yours," Thamiel growled as light thundered through the unseen battlefield. Down in Solinar, Calith woke from a restless sleep, heart pounding for reasons she couldn't name. The wind pressed against her window, not to scare her, but to get in, to whisper, to nudge. But fear, that old traitor, wrapped around her ribs like vines. She tried to rise, but her own thoughts betrayed her. "You failed. Again. They've forgotten you. There's nothing left for you." The voice was not hers, but it wore her tone like a mask. Then something shifted. The air in the room became still, not heavy, holy. From the shadows by the hearth, a flicker of warmth danced, a light with no source. A soft hush rolled over her spirit like lullabies she never remembered hearing. Calith blinked, and in that moment her soul heard a sound not from her world. "You are being lied to," she gasped. The light pulsed. "They begged for you." The warmth intensified. "They stood before the high flame and pleaded for your soul." A sob escaped her lips as her knees gave way, not from fear, but from the truth her heart had waited lifetimes to remember. They said, "Let us try again." Calith wept. She saw glimpses, flashes, Serial, holding back a beast formed from her betrayal in Revel, Tamil, pouring hope into her dreams when nightmares tried to reign. Another, Leorael, she would one day learn, whispering comfort every time she stared at the river and considered letting go. They had all come, not because she was strong, but because she was loved. She had never been alone. Elian's voice poured into her, being like gold poured into a cracked chalice. Not loud, but it shook everything inside her. You are not forgotten. This is your moment. Before the next wave hits, you must choose. The voice trembled with something more than urgency. It carried heartbreak. We sent them because you are still worthy of saving. The window blew open, and the wind no longer felt cruel. It kissed her face and whispered, "This is heaven's final attempt." Caliph rose, not with certainty, but with permission to believe again. Every echo of despair tried to scream louder, but the memory of angel hands. She stepped outside, and the sky cracked open, not with thunder, but with light. The wind circled her like a promise kept. She heard Elian once more, as the sun crowned the horizon. You are my ember, not extinguished, only hidden. The danger hadn't passed, the storm hadn't vanished. But now, Caliph was not walking blind. Now she remembered the ones who fought for her when she couldn't lift her own soul. Now she heard the rustle of wings in every silence. And now she knew the voice, not a hallucination, not imagination, but the truth she had waited too long to hear. Child, listen. They are near, and they have always been. When stars weep, the twilight winds twisted through the valley of Elunara, brushing past towers of forgotten stone and sleeping rivers. Above the world, beyond what eyes could see, the celestial keepers moved. Two of them descended, cloaked not in light, but in urgency. Melian and Raviel, ancient warriors of the Lightborn Order, stood at the edge of the veil, eyes turned toward one soul, Saria, a name spoken in reverence in the halls of the unseen. Not because she was perfect, but because she was precious. Melian's voice cracked with emotion. She's walking blind into the dark. Let us break through. Let her hear the sound of our cry. Raviel's wings trembled, heavy with grief. She stands at the threshold. One step more, and the current will swallow her. So Elitha, the voice of the divine, spoke from the throne of flame. Go, not with wrath, but with the full weight of my love. Go, because she is worth the war. And so the stars wept as the angels crossed the threshold. Saria sat in the quiet hollows of Orin's end, unaware that time itself had bent to bring her this moment. Her thoughts, tangled and torn, were louder than the world around her. The voice that followed her in the dark whispered again, "You're not enough. You never were. There's no way out now." She believed it. She had been believing it for far too long. That's when her lamp flickered without cause. The air shifted. Her heartbeat quickened, and then she heard it, not through her ears, but somewhere deeper. Turn back. The whisper was wrapped in ache, in urgency, in heaven's alarm. Beloved, stop. There's danger ahead. We've come to warn you. The words didn't come from fear, but from a sorrow so vast it felt ancient. Saraya pressed her hand to her chest. Tears welled, uninvited. Malian stood beside her, unseen, whispering with a heart that ached for her pain. You are walking toward harm. A shadowed influence circles your path. This isn't just another choice, it's a turning point. Raviel reached across eternity and cried out, You must hear us now. This may be the last chance before the night becomes too deep. And still, she doubted. Why would anything care for me? The heavens stilled. Then Elithar's voice fell like rain over a scorched soul. Because I told them how much you mean to me. Because I cannot bear the thought of you broken beyond your own reach. In a realm where fire doesn't burn and time does not age, the Eternal One's heart thundered with longing. Every time you walked into the cold, I sent warmth. Every tear you cried, I caught before it hit the ground. Saraya wept, not because she suddenly believed, but because something in her soul remembered. The angels wept too. Malian whispered memories into her spirit. The nights you cried alone, clutching the weight of betrayal. I was there. When you felt forgotten after they walked away, Raviel wrapped you in presence so you didn't collapse. When you screamed into the dark, Why God? The divine sat in silence beside you, holding your shattered heart with reverence. Still, she remembered stumbling in sin, in choices she regretted. But even then, another voice stirred. I saw you fall, and I still reached for you. When you whispered, Forgive me, I did, every single time. Saraya sank to her knee, not from guilt, but from the weight of relentless love. She had no proof, but the grief in her chest was no longer hers alone. It was shared. Raviel's voice echoed again, this time not as a warning, but a plea. Let this be the moment you return. We are sounding every alarm not to shame you, but to save you. She looked around, and though the world remained unchanged, she was not the same. She felt it now, every brush of wind, every strange stillness, every tug at her spirit. It had all been them. They had been there through her sleepless nights, standing guard when her soul wandered close to the cliff's edge. They carried divine instructions not to abandon her, even when she abandoned herself. She asked one last question into the silence. How do I know you're really there? And like a flood of warmth through frozen veins, the answer came, because you're still breathing. Because every time you wanted to give up, something held you. That something was me. Saraya breathed in, and for the first time in what felt like lifetimes, she exhaled not fear, but possibility. Malayan and Raviel stood above her, unseen, watching the first light return to her eyes. They did not rejoice with songs. They stood in reverent silence, their mission holding its breath. Elithar whispered once more, "Tell her she is not beyond saving. Tell her she is the reason I moved heaven." So here they were, two heavenly warriors sent not with thunder, but with tears. A warning, yes, but laced with love that breaks chains. A plea not to scare, but to steer. And the truth remains, Saraya was, and is, and always will be, worth fighting for. Whispers beneath the veil. The stars above Valora shimmered not from light, but from mercy. In the hush between pain and peace, a hand reached down, not of flesh, but of spirit, of fire woven in compassion. "Lift your eyes, beloved." The voice trembled with tenderness, full of echoes from beyond the veil. Neriah, the eternal presence, gently raised the chin of Elira, whose soul had been sinking beneath invisible weight for what felt like lifetimes. Tears stained her cheeks, but the divine touched each one like a precious gem, wiping them away not in haste, but with reverence. "Look at me," the voice whispered, soaked in light. "See not with fear, but with faith. Gaze into my kindness, not your shame." Elira's lips quivered. She had expected wrath, rejection, the cold silence of divine disappointment. Instead, she felt warmth radiate from the very air around her. "I am not angry with you. I am not disappointed. I am filled with love, compassion, and more hope for you than you've ever dared believe." The ground beneath her soul, once cracked by grief, began to soften. "I see what's ahead, child of starlight, and it is good, not perfect, not easy, but good, because I walk beside you, and I know the plans I crafted with my own hands." Alira's voice cracked, barely audible. "But how can I move forward after all that's happened?" Neriah leaned closer, wrapping her spirit in a windless stillness. "With me, all things become possible. You don't have to walk this road alone. In this moment, I pour my strength into your bones. Lean into me when you're weak. I will not let you fall." The darkness around her, which once mocked every step, began to retreat. "Where you see brokenness, I see the beginning of something sacred. I will turn your pain into purpose, your nights of sorrow into songs of healing." Her hands clenched, her breath deepened. "From this moment forward, you do not walk alone." As Elira sat surrounded by invisible arms, the winds of Valora hushed. The moonlight fell gently through the trees, and though nothing visible had changed, everything within her began to shift. "You will face challenges still. Life will never be perfect, but no battle will overtake you, not while I'm by your side. When you grow tired, I will carry you. When fear slithers back in, when your heart loses direction, I will guide you like the North Star never sleeps." She shuddered, not from fear, but from release. Those voices that whispered you are not enough, I silence them now. Those thoughts that told you you're alone, I command them to vanish. That hopelessness that haunted you like a shadow, it is breaking. Hear it? A breath caught in her throat. That's the weight lifting off of you. That's freedom. Naraya wrapped her in peace like a soft rainfall on scorched land. Close your eyes. Breathe deeply. Now speak this in your heart. I trust you, Naraya. I trust you with my life. Elira did, and the chain snapped like fragile threads. Say it again. I trust you. Peace poured in. Trust sprouted like wildflowers across the battlefield of her soul, and in that sacred exchange, heaven rejoiced. Yes, child, let those words echo, not for the world to hear, but for you to believe. Each time you say them, you step further into your healing. Elira opened her eyes and felt something new in her chest. Stillness, a calm that didn't make sense, but stayed anyway. You can return to this peace any time, Naraya whispered, because I never left. I'm always here, and I always will be. And now something stirred deeper in her spirit, a small trembling desire. What is this I feel? She asked. The voice answered softly, that is the beginning of awakening. You are remembering who you are, and more importantly, who I am to you. You are my child, and no child of mine walks without belonging. Even if this world forgot you, I didn't. You have a family. You belong to something eternal, and nothing can tear you away from that. The warmth deepened. Gratitude swelled inside her chest like a sunrise. Before I speak further, let us pause. Let's dwell in thankfulness together. Not because I demand it, but because it unlocks peace in you. Every time you say thank you are reminding your soul that you are safe, that I am near, that all is not lost. Elira folded her hands and whispered through tears, thank you for not giving up on me. Thank you for loving me when I didn't know how to love myself. Thank you for standing guard when I nearly gave up. And heaven, once again, stood still, not in silence, but in awe. You are awakening, daughter of mine. You are rising from the ashes of despair, not because you were strong, but because I was strong for you. You are enough. You are loved, and you are not done. And as the stars above Velura continued to shimmer with celestial joy, the Eternal Presence spoke one last word. We're just getting started. Between the shadows and the flame, inside the sanctuary of Halien's refuge, where the winds could not howl and the echoes of pain paused to listen, a voice moved like light breaking into the cracks of stone. It came not with thunder, but with mercy, a hand extended from the unseen. Come inside where it's safe. That voice belonged to Solian, the one who knows, whose reach crossed galaxies to pull hearts from darkness. The soul he reached for tonight was named Kael, a weary traveler drifting between two worlds, half awake, half afraid, half surrendered, half slipping. Solian's voice touched Kale's spirit like rain after a long drought. This message is my hand, reaching to you again. Don't let go. But even now, Solian could sense it. The whispers already stirring, the enemy waiting just outside the stillness, claws ready to rip away every seed of hope just planted. As soon as this ends, Solian whispered, distraction will come. Fear, old temptations, sudden worry. Please, Kyle, hold on to me. Guard what you've received. The air around Kyle thickened, but not with dread, with decision. His heart beat loud in the silence, pulsing with the weight of this moment. Do not stray from me now, the voice urged. You feel my love in this breath, but if you turn away, your heart may harden. It will be harder to heal. Kale's lips parted in protest, but Solian continued, not to control, but to plead. I will never force you. That was never the way. I gave you the freedom to choose love, not to be imprisoned by it. But if you walk away again, and here the voice broke, your guardian spirits, those who have fought beside you since your first breath, will have to watch from afar, their eyes filled with tears. And I will feel it. I will ache with every wound you were never meant to carry. Kyle trembled, standing between one more compromise and one final surrender. Please, Solian whispered, stay under my protection. For there were many like Kyle, souls flickering between fire and fog, some half living in faith, clinging to what they knew was shadow, others drowning in silence, convinced their life no longer mattered. To both, the message was the same. The time is now. There is no promise of later. You who prays by night but dances with destruction by day, no more pretending. And you, wrapped in despair, listening to lies that whisper you don't matter, that voice is not mine. The stars outside the refuge pulsed with divine ache. Kael dropped to his knees. Your life means everything to me, Solian said, a flame burning through every layer of shame. I formed you in the image of relentless love. I paid a price beyond comprehension to bring you home. This world, this universe, is not better without you. The lie shattered, the shadows recoiled. Kyle's chest heaved with sobs he hadn't let surface in years, and still the hand of mercy remained outstretched. Take my hand, the voice said again, stronger now. I am pulling you out. Even now, I am lifting you. And though Kyle could not see it, the angel stood on the edge of light, breathless, watching the miracle of a soul choosing life again. The despair will pass, brighter days will come, but right now you must choose. Kyle reached upward, his fingers brushing the warmth that called to him. Something ancient and kind and immovable wrapped around him. Whether you've been half-hearted in faith or barely holding on, the answer is the same. Come to me, stay with me. No more running, no more delaying. The moment broke open like dawn. The room brightened, not in light, but in hope. Kyle felt it in his bones, in his heartbeat, in the weight that lifted off his chest, and Solian whispered once more, "This isn't just a moment, it's a door, and I'm on the other side waiting, not with judgment, but with arms wide open. So step through, into the light, into love, into the home you've always longed for." The door within. The wind over Leora's hollow carried no chill tonight, only a hush, like the world was holding its breath. In the silence, footsteps not made of flesh echoed softly across the soul of one named Seren. And then a knock, not on wood or stone, but on the door carved deep within the heart. "I stand here," said the voice, soft but resonant, "at the door of your heart, and I knock." Seren paused, torn between reaching out or hiding again in the familiar shadow. "Will you let me in? Completely?" There was no pressure in the question, only deep, aching love. It trembled with patience and it pulsed with eternity. Serene's breath caught in her throat, and though her voice cracked, barely a whisper, she answered, "Yes." Even in her trembling, even in the fear that maybe she wasn't enough, the door opened, and in a breathless moment, everything changed. "Then rejoice," the voice smiled, "for I am with you now, not for a season, not until you fall again, but now and forever." A warmth spread through her chest like light spilling into a long abandoned room. The moment your heart said yes, I rushed in, not with wrath, not with judgment, but with all my love and endless grace. Her hands shook, her tears came, but they were no longer heavy with despair. Something holy had entered her. "You might feel lighter now, or warmer inside. Miracle of my presence, filling every hollow space you thought would never heal. The heaviness is lifting, the darkness is fleeing. A new dawn is rising in your soul." Seren fell to her knees, not in shame, but in wonder. How could this peace be real? "Think about it," the voice continued gently. "You didn't find this by chance. You may have wandered onto this moment feeling lost, but this was divine intervention. I set this up. I arranged every step to reach you. Why? Because you matter that much to me." The stillness in the room felt sacred now, holy, like heaven had bent close just to whisper into her life, "Whenever you doubt my love, remember this moment. Whenever fear creeps back in, return here. This is your altar. This is your proof. I am real. I am here. And I am yours." Outside, the night still pressed on, but inside Seren, the stars began to rise. "Now we move forward together," the voice said. "Your journey doesn't end here. It begins here. But from this moment on, you never walk alone again." She closed her eyes. She could feel it, the shift, the presence. "Your angels, the ones I assigned from the beginning, are still guarding you. They've never stopped. And now my spirit will dwell within you, not outside or far above, but closer than your breath." Seren whispered, "But what if I falter again? The voice didn't hesitate. Then I will lift you. What if I doubt? Then I will remind you. What if I fear? Then call out. Just call. A pause. When you're unsure or weak or feel like you've lost your way, speak my name. I will answer. I don't need perfect words. I need a willing heart. Seren opened her eyes. The walls of her heart, once cold and closed, now pulsed with life, with light. I chose you before you knew me, the voice whispered. I loved you before you ever prayed, and I've never stopped calling your name. She looked around, same room, same body, but everything was different. Everything inside her was singing. Let this be the beginning, not the end. Let this be the page where your story changes, where grief bows to joy, where guilt bows to grace, where fear bows to love. The knock had come, the door had opened, and now the king had entered. Type yes if you believe in Ode. Type 1111 if you believe in God.